Hello, and thank you for listening to the LAAGCast. It is August 2nd, 2018, and I, as always, am your host, Max Williams. With me are Will Henry.
Hey there.
And Sam Richards.
Hey.
And let's get right into this, guys. So the outrageous thing of the week today actually happened today.
Oh, gosh.
So Gen Con. Do you know what Gen Con is?
Yeah, it's the oldest gaming convention that there is.
Yes, it was actually founded by Dungeons & Dragons creator Gary Gygax himself in the 80s. And it is the largest tabletop gaming and, I guess, some computer gaming.
Yeah, it's a general gaming convention these days.
It's 4 days, and on today, the first day of the convention, a prominent, controversial YouTuber, The Quartering, real name Jeremy Hambley, was assaulted by a guy, I guess, who didn't like his YouTube videos.
Yeah, just walked up to him and started punching him in the back of the head, I guess?
Yeah, he was really beating the crap out of him.
Oh.
And this happened at a bar. This didn't happen at the convention.
Nope.
But this was, a place where lots of people from the convention were obviously milling about and wearing their convention passes.
Yep.
And to me, the most outrageous thing is that apparently the bar first asked him not to call the police about the incident. And then later, when he did call the police and the police requested the surveillance footage of the event, the bar refused to comply.
Yeah, apparently they also, he asked them first to call the police, and they said no, and then he wanted to do it, and they said no, so they were just, stonewalling him the whole time.
Yeah, so truly disgusting.
Yeah, why would they do that if it's, violence in public? That's not okay.
There were patrons in the bar that came to help him,
right?
But that's it. It's like, what is wrong with people?
And he did say on a quick video that he was going home. He wasn't going to attend the rest of the convention. He didn't want to have to hire a bodyguard.
Yeah, it's not a safe place for him.
Right, exactly. So that's too bad.
Yeah.
It's just gross. And, I mean, it's too bad because, YouTube videos? This is over YouTube videos?
Yeah, exactly. And, I mean, I've heard of him. I don't really know The Quartering, but I've heard of him. So I at least know that he's somewhat popular, enough to get within my peripherals, but the fact that, you do anything and somebody's going to try and assault you is just horrible.
Yeah, it's too bad. It's really a symptom of the way that the rhetoric has really turned up the volume on Twitter, and people just say horrible things to each other all the time, and it was, it's inevitable that people are going to act on it when somebody's, saying really bad things that, or saying to go after somebody. So, it doesn't matter how controversial somebody is. You don't physically go after them. Let's move on from this.
Indeed. Someone get the name of that bar and spread that around.
Yeah, we're not going to do that. But,
not us.
They deserve some negative reviews, I gotta say.
Yeah. Anyway.
So what's up in gaming news, Will?
Well, I only got two pieces of news here. The first one's real quick. BioWare are still working on their other series. Dragon Age and Mass Effect do have sequels in the works.
I figured they were getting rid of Mass Effect after Andromeda. I thought that was we're done with this. Here you go, money grab. On to the next thing.
Right, the Metal Gear Solid Survive style, where the last game is just the cash grab to trick the fools.
Yeah, exactly. But the weirdest thing about Andromeda was that how it felt was that that was the plan, but then the backlash was so bad that they immediately reeled and were like, oh no, we gotta fix the game.
We gotta do a better one.
Yeah.
We can't go out on
so
this.
It's are they doing this just because that can't be the end of Mass Effect now? They just can't let that happen?
They have a weird sense of honor about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe.
Because didn't the last Dragon Age game not get received that well either?
I never played it.
Yeah, okay.
And I loved Dragon Age 1.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, anyway. The other news is much more exciting in my opinion.
Okay, excite me.
Okay, EVE Online is having their largest war ever. So in the last one, over $350,000 real dollars were lost from the destruction of ships, the loss of goods, and various other means. Now, this ratio is based on the fact that you can buy game time using in-game currency, so you can calculate, the conversion ratio, basically.
Game time?
Yeah.
Buy time?
The game has a monthly fee.
Oh, I see.
But anyway, so there's a new war going on, and it's the largest one ever.
Twice as many ships?
Yeah, twice as many of the Titan super capital ships, which are the most expensive in the game. They're huge, and like I think each one costs upwards of the $10,000s of dollars.
And this is just one person on this ship, or is like you have a whole crew serving on the capital ship?
Generally, one of those ships probably is just one guy, but he's probably like the leader of a gigantic, group.
A fleet.
A fleet of people, exactly. Okay. Anyway, so. There's a war going on between two sides, 3,500 people involved, trying to get control of a place called Keepstar Citadel.
Yeah.
And apparently, based on everything there, people are estimating that the costs of this war are going to break $2 million, $1 million for each side.
Some countries don't produce that much dough.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a strange thing.
EVE Online is crazy.
I can't believe how many people still play that.
It doesn't have the largest player base, but the thing is
But everybody who's in the player base is playing this.
Yeah, and they got the 300,000. So when you have 300,000 dedicated players, like you make good money, and
they have 300,000 dedicated players.
Oh, EVE Online, the people who play that game are pretty dedicated.
Wow.
You play that game like a full-time job, and they get 300,000 a month. So probably 200,000 or so are dedicated.
My mind is exploding right now. I feel like we've had this conversation before.
Probably. It's because everything else about EVE is like spreadsheets, but then the news about EVE, it makes it sound like such a fun game.
It's nations going to war. Like if there was only some way we could channel like real life aggression into EVE Online wars and StarCraft matches, then we could solve a lot of problems.
That's the plot of a lot of movies.
Yeah.
Well, anyway.
So, did you guys play anything fun this week? Fun and new?
Yeah, fun and new.
Tell me, what'd you get?
Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze.
All right.
For the Nintendo Switch.
No, this is a port or a remake or an update of the Wii U game?
I do believe that this game came out on the Wii U, but it did not include...
multiplayer.
No, I think it had multiplayer.
Oh.
I think it's the character, Funky Kong. That's it. Yeah, so this one has Funky Kong, which adds some additional things. And then I think they also did, some smaller updates.
Right.
But, never played the Wii U version, so that's kind of irrelevant to me.
Okay.
We didn't play as Funky Kong either.
Yeah, that is also true. But the game is very fun. It's
pretty good.
Very challenging.
It is challenging.
Yeah.
Like, you still got minecart levels?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And other things, rhino levels.
Yeah, so far we've gotten the rhino, no other animals yet.
Anything where, like, the whole area blacks out unless you're hitting triggers that light it up for you?
I haven't hit any of that yet, but we've only explored 2 areas.
As in 2 zones, so we've gone through 7, 8 stages so far.
Yeah, about. I feel like there's probably a lot more.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Based on how fast we could have potentially gotten through that, I would say that there's a good large chunk of the game left. And the game is pretty fun, so we might make it quite a bit further, because I know that I want to see what else it has to offer. My only real problem with the game is that it plays like Donkey Kong Country, so the controls feel just a little loose compared to what I like.
Ooh, I don't know. I feel like Donkey Kong Country isn't loose.
Like
you can be precise,
constantly slipping around a little bit, and it's like it wants more precision than other games. So if you're playing it like other games, then it's not going to feel quite right.
Yeah, it feels slippery because it wants you to be so precise in order to make those tiny jumps onto those little platforms and grab the thing in the right place.
Yeah.
Lots of fun.
Yeah. I like throwing things around. Sam, since you're familiar with past Donkey Kong countries, have we experienced anything that's just completely new?
Well, there's Cranky Kong, for one thing.
That's exciting.
Able to whack things with his stick and do a stick bounce on the ground so that he can avoid spikes and stuff.
Okay.
That's very useful.
So he's more of a avoid damage type than an offensive attack type?
Yes. And I can actually jump on Donkey Kong's back, and then he gets the ability to jump on spikes.
Oh, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Power adaptation.
Yeah, it seems when you play multiplayer, first player is always Donkey Kong.
Okay, yeah.
And then player 2 gets to choose between Cranky or Diddy or Dixie.
And are you both active at the same time, or was one person in control and or switching off?
Both active at the same time, unless
you're on his back.
Unless he's on my back.
Or on your back.
Yeah, exactly.
You're Donkey Kong.
Yeah. He is Donkey Kong.
The funniest thing for me was when I walked in, you guys had been playing, I think it was one of the Rhino levels, and you got a fair bit through it before dying, and then you had one life left, and you started again at the beginning, and you were like, this is our last chance, and you immediately just jumped into a pit. Like, no chance of that jump ever going anywhere.
So good. It just happens sometimes.
Had a good laugh. Had a good laugh.
Like in the mine carts, you're coming up on the thing, you've passed it like 10 times, but this time you decide to jump and you slam right into it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we've all been there.
One of the weirdest things is that we can both take control of things at the same time. So it's like in a minecart, we both have control. On the Rhino, we both have control.
Oh no!
So
sometimes
we take turns, but like in the minecart, me and him are so in tune that we're just both playing and we're making the same moves anyway.
Interesting.
It works out.
If you guys hit the same thing, but like a millisecond apart, do you even know whose order
the first one goes first.
Yeah. Okay, and you can only really do one thing at a time.
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
Exactly.
Interesting. So it's whoever is the fastest reflexes. So the only time you can really get screwed up is when you're getting to jump too early.
Yeah. We're not racing each other. It's like one of us is going to get that timing, and sometimes I don't do the action I mean to do, and then Sam does it, and I'm like, wow, if we weren't doing it this way, that would have been a fail.
Has either of you ever just like not jumped and like assumed the other one was going to have it jump?
There was a point where I didn't play for like half a stage because I knew Sam had it, and then he went off, and I'm like, I should have been doing it.
Okay. Yeah. It sounds fun. I may have to try it.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
We all played another fun game.
Yes, we did. We watched a funny video on YouTube and then immediately downloaded the game for $5 and played, I guess, most of the content.
Yeah, that seems like all that it really has to offer. We're referring to Stick Fight the Game.
Stick Fight the Game. Now, to me, Stick Fight the Game feels like something that you'd get in the loading screen of a game back in the 90s and early 2000s.
Except real loose. Like, you want to talk about loose controls.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I've never controlled a more rubbery blob. I can never exactly tell what he's doing.
Yeah, the arms are so slow, so you pick up a gun and the guy's on the other side of you, so it's like rotated all the way around.
But I gotta say, as far as like multiplayer fighting games go, this one might come the closest to Smash Brothers for me, just in terms of like pure built-in like fun, like being able to easily pick it up and play.
It's a party game.
It really is. Like you could play this in 3 stages. Yeah.
You can make teams so that like one team is blue, one team is red, and then you can track the teams if you have enough people. It's great.
And the way that after every, I guess, 10 to 15 stages, it gives you a stage where it makes fun of people in the background text.
And compliments me.
Right, compliments whoever has the most kills and lets you know how bad the worst player's doing, and then finds something rude to say about the players in the middle.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
So that's a high recommend. Well worth the non-discounted $4.99 price, I would say.
We went through the stages, I'd say, like 1.5 times, right?
Man, that time flew by.
Yeah.
Like, it was crazy how, we just sat down, and after a little while, one of us realized that the stages were repeating. And then we're like, okay, all right.
That was good.
That was the game.
Yeah. Worth $5.
Lured us right in.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
All right. What about some stuff that we're continuing to play, Sam?
Well, continuing until now, I beat Mass Effect 1.
Oh, you already beat it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Beat it quick.
So what was your alignment?
I got Paragon.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going for Renegade, and somehow I ended up with Paragon anyway.
Really? You don't know what choices you made that were give you too many Paragon points? Like, you weren't helping people randomly? Like
I was helping some people, but I was also killing some people and doing some background dealing. And I thought it would, I'm never good at sticking straight evil.
Right. Well, I think there is some event that happens near the end of the game that gives you like 50 points in one direction or the other based on like one decision you make. So I wonder if I don't recall enough about the
I did get a lot with my last decision to let the Citadel Council die. I got a lot of Renegade for that.
a lot of Renegade for that, and you still ended up going Paragon.
I still ended up going Paragon. I think in my early game I went to Paragon with stuff that I had played before, and it's too bad. But now I can import my character into number 2.
That's what I was going to ask, if you were going to do the import.
Yeah, but if I am, I kind of got a little bit of regret. I wish I had, taken it in a more interesting direction, like kill Rex, save Caden, and sacrifice Ashley.
Oh, because we never do that in previous playthroughs?
Not usually.
Yeah.
And save the council.
Okay, yeah. Well, I do believe that Caden actually is only interesting if he shows up in the 3rd game. So are you tempted to not import the character, or are you going to do it?
I'm not sure yet. I might just try and find something else to play.
Oh, okay, for now.
Yeah, but if I can't find anything, then maybe. We'll see.
Fair enough.
You can play Donkey Kong Country with me.
I plan to.
What about you, Max?
Well, I've continued to play Shadow of War, Lord of the Rings, Shadow of War. It's interesting. I think that game has what amounts to a 10 to 12 hour tutorial. Because I think I was playing at least that long before I finally was given the ability to actually start branding orcs and making them my warriors, and to start doing the actual citadel attacks that were the main part of the game's gameplay.
Yeah.
Now that I'm there, though, hot damn, that is some fun gameplay. I admit some of the length is because I got sucked into the Nemesis system early, which many people online say is a danger you have, need to worry about falling into.
Yeah.
But I'm doing pretty good now that I've taken that first citadel and turned most of the orcs blue on that one land area.
I mean, I feel like these 10 to 12 hour tutorials are becoming more and more popular because the developers are trying to teach you everything, but not jam it all into the first 30 minutes of the game, trying to give you the gameplay as it's meant to be experienced, but teach you new things at the same time. And I think it's effective. It's just, I would like to be able to jump into that game and be able to brand orcs and all of that. And mostly because of, you've played the first game, and we have a certain expectation of being able to do things that we've done before.
Right. And the way that it lets you keep a lot of the movement things that are upgrades in the first game, but you just start with them in this game, it is noticeable, especially if you have immediately played Shadow of Mordor before this, which I did.
Yeah.
It's real jarring. And it's a lot of fun. They've given some of those orcs some real funny personalities. The first big guy you recruit, who ends up being your kind of sidekick orc, who you can't give him special instructions because he's always got to be available to show up and be a smart ass to you. He's such an enthusiastic mob boss for you. He just loves it, and he just wants to give you all this advice, and he knows exactly how orcs think all the time, and he's going to be a good war master for you, and he's eternal enemies with Ratbag from the first game for some reason, because Ratbag survived, even though you see his head get smashed in the first game.
You can survive amazing things.
That's what he says. He's I saw you die, and Ratbag's you have to really kill an orc to kill an orc. And it's funny because the game sets up this thing where after you take the first citadel, it turns out that Ratbag is the war chief of the citadel, hiding up there behind a big old troll orc that he's got as his sidekick. And then your sidekick gets an argument with him, and the game really makes it seem like you're going to have to choose between them, and maybe you have to kill one of them because only one of them can be instilled as your personal war chief. And then you just walk away, and you have to assign one of your other orcs because neither of them can be your war chief.
Hey, that works.
Super weird.
Yeah, no, that's effective.
Shelob's still a chick.
Which is, yeah.
Yeah, but some of the stuff they show you so casually in the game is hilarious because, I love the Lord of the Rings movies, the Peter Jackson original 3, not the Hobbit movies, obviously. Right. And the way that movie, teased out and really, shadowed the way that, Sauron looked, for example, or they wouldn't give you a real clear shot of things all the time. Oh, yeah. In this game, he just walks out and he's talking to the Nazgul, and he's here's what I want you to do. And it's weird. It's just weird. The story is super crazy bonkers. Like, it's hilarious the amount of latitude that they've given themselves in telling a story that supposedly takes place in the Tolkien universe. Like, absolutely hilarious. You're running around with a ring that is supposedly the more powerful version of the One Ring that you forged yourself. Like, this is basically, like, weird Mary Sue fan fiction.
Yeah,
like,
when the game was first coming out, man, people were so outraged about this, but it always just seemed like they were having fun, and that's ideal.
Like, it so is. It's like a 10-year-old who's like, man, I'm going to be like a ranger, like Aragorn, but even cooler. But he's going to have a ring that doesn't have any control over him at all. That's a perfected version of the ring that can take over anybody, and he'll be called the Bright Lord, because Sauron is the Dark Lord, and he's going to start taking over the armies. And it's like, yeah, it's straight up 10-year-old bullshit, and I love it.
Yeah, flipping all the orcs, making the bad guys good. It's like, yeah, wonderful.
Like the Vendetta stuff, where orcs are coming back. Like, I've had orcs come back for revenge on me who had worked for me and gotten killed while in my service, and they're like, I didn't assist them during their battle or whatever when they died, and they come back and they want to fight me again, and you can't rebrand them to your side because now they're resistant to your mental branding. So you have to kill them or shame them.
If you shame them, can you find them again and then potentially recapture them?
You can never recapture them again, but you could potentially shame them down to like level 1.
That's pretty good.
Like, potentially. It seems like a waste of time for no good purpose, because the lower the level, the worse the loot you get.
That's still pretty funny.
Yeah, I don't love the loot system in the game.
You just pick out one guy you really don't like and you shame him all the way down.
It does seem like it would be cool to do that. The one thing in this one I haven't noticed is that in Shadow of Mordor, they very quickly give you like one orc who is your like arch nemesis. Mm-hmm. Like, that's the one who is going to be coming after you. No matter how many times you kill him, he's always going to revive and just become slowly more messed up and powerful as the game goes on.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've only taken out that first Citadel so far, but I feel like I should have met my nemesis by now. You know what I mean? They have had me fighting the ring wraiths once in a while, and I really hope they're not going with that. I want my nemesis to be another procedurally generated orc.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So you're saying you don't like the items?
Oh yeah, the item system, it's like the first game's item system isn't great, and this one is like a lateral move. It's neither better nor worse.
Well, as you get later into the game, it's going to get worse.
Why do you say that?
Because that is the number one worst thing that Warner Brothers did with the game, was that at the end of the game, they put in a grind because they sell the gear for real money.
Not anymore.
Not anymore?
They don't sell for real money anymore.
Oh, really?
Yes, they took that out. There's a big message when you launch the game the first time that tells you that they removed the actual... That's the reason I got the game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they took that out.
Okay. I wonder if they took out the grind then, because I know
It's the grind that you have to keep, because it's a random chest or whatever, and you have to, or a random reward that you have to keep buying.
Yeah, you have to have like a certain level. You have to have, no, it's like you have to have a certain level of gear in order to beat the game, and you can't get that gear until you're like far enough along.
I don't know about that,
and so it like forces you to just farm for like 10 hours is what people used to experience.
Yeah, I haven't heard about that one being fixed specifically, but I feel like people in the reviews would still be complaining about it amongst their like glowing recent reviews.
That is true.
The patched out version that has to have been taken out.
Maybe.
I hope so.
Maybe.
Man, that broke my heart hearing that. I hope that's not still true.
Maybe.
Yeah, really.
All right.
Anyway,
that's all I have for now. I'll probably keep playing it because it's hella fun. Did I mention that?
Yeah. We've heard.
I mean, the play is fantastic. I think it's harder than the first game, difficulty-wise. I'd get hit in combat constantly.
That's actually good, because the first game you could have 50 guys around you and you could take them all out.
Yeah, this game, I feel like it's a little more difficult, but you also can have like an orc bodyguard assigned from any of the orcs that you've branded, and you can have them on a hot button that you can call anytime for assistance.
That's good. That's cool.
Yeah,
that's a lot of fun.
You can call a Karagor after you get a certain level of abilities, so, and the abilities are a little more robust. And here I am. I'm diving us right into it. We were trying to take a break. But, I'll save some of this for next week.
Yeah, that sounds good. Let's take that break.
Cool. And welcome back to the LAAGCast. We've got some movie and TV news for you here now. So first of all, speaking of The Hobbit, there was a little bit of interesting news today regarding that trio of movies. Well,
yeah, Topher Grace, who made the legendary edit of the Star Wars prequels,
the Phantom Edit.
Yeah, the Phantom Edit has decided to go ahead and turn the 3 Hobbit movies into a 2-hour cut. I think it was 2 hours and 7 minutes.
Wow,
so that's pretty good considering.
I think he probably left too much in.
It's definitely possible.
But still, it's just amazing. He says he finds it therapeutic.
Yeah.
So he's working on hard movies. He likes to edit other movies.
Yeah, I wonder what he could hit next that's just severely bloated and could really be cut down by quite a bit. Maybe he needs to hit some of the Marvel Netflix shows.
Oh, man, that could do a lot of good work.
Yeah, absolutely, right?
Someone should just hire him to do cuts of things already.
Actual edits. Like, he's the editor who comes in after you know that, like, you've brought in other guys and they're like, I can't get it below 2.5 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
And comes in and cracks his knuckles. All right, guys. Eric's here. I got this.
I can turn this into 20 minutes if you want.
Yeah, but it'd be more like, I can turn this into 20 minutes if you want. Anyway,
moving on.
In other exciting news, we finally got the second trailer, the full trailer for Venom.
Venom still looks funny.
Venom still looks a little funny once in a while when he's talking. The lip and mouth movements are a little squicky. Like, hopefully that might be unfinished effects. But other than that, I have very few complaints.
Yeah, it seems like they changed symbiote to symbiote.
Yes, yeah, they did change. At least we have another character pronouncing it, so...
Everyone's going to say it differently.
Everyone may say it differently throughout the course of the movie, depending on who they could or couldn't get in for reshoots. But yeah, it looks like the main villain is going to be Riot from the Separation Anxiety Venom arc, the brownish symbiote who likes to turn his arms into razors.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. I don't love that he appears to be very close in color to Venom. I'd prefer some brighter colors to kind of differentiate the symbiotes.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't realize that we had seen two symbiotes until you pointed out to me that the Blade Arms symbiote was different.
Yeah, between them and the guy getting attached to one at the beginning, and the woman who appears to have a symbiote on her, and she's like shooting blades into the crowd and stuff.
Right.
I think we're getting
that's
at least 3.5 symbiotes in this movie, because guy in a science environment getting the symbiote attached may not survive. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Tom Hardy's accent is a little funny to me. It sounds like it might be sort of a merging of 2 or 3 different East Coast accents, not quite landing on one.
He's just a local.
Eddie Brock, canonically in the comics, is from San Francisco, so I don't know how much of an East Coast accent he should have, but who knows if that will be part of the film.
Yeah, that might just be oversight.
And Woody Harrelson is rumored to still be in the movie as Cletus Cassidy. Well, so very likely to just be set up for the next film. Hopefully they're not doing a Deadpool in Wolverine where they're going to have him just like show up and do like a fight scene at the end.
Right. That's definitely what's going to happen.
I really hope not. No, yeah, I hope it's sequel setup. But yeah, really looking forward to it. And Venom looks a little funny, but overall, I do like the look. He's as big as he should be.
Yeah, it's almost like you couldn't pull it off without everybody first looking at it like, yeah, that's a little silly.
He's going to look slimy and shiny. Like, maybe that's what bad CG looks like, but that's also what a symbiote would probably look like.
Yeah.
Right.
It is weird that during the little humor tag at the end of the trailer, he threatens to eat every part of that guy except his brain.
Right. Yeah, that is weird. It's like your hands, your lungs, your liver.
Yeah. He lists off all the body parts, and it seems like he's setting up the line, the iconic Venom line from the 90s, I will eat your brains.
It's in the movie.
It's got to be in the movie. It has to be in the movie.
It's just a really good cut, so it's like really leading people on.
No, I think that's a bad cut because you want to let people know that you've been paying enough attention to the history of the character to include that line and get that opening weekend gross up.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. But you could also say that they thought about the fact that people would see the trailer and be like, where's the line? And then they go see the movie and the line comes up and everyone cheers.
Maybe.
Like, that's how you promote that to a group of executives.
Yeah, but Hollywood trailers these days, I feel like they're not like that anymore.
They're so overproduced.
They're so overproduced and they're so revealing of everything. Like, anytime they've got a killer line like that, it's got to be in the trailer because opening weekend is all.
Yeah, that's true.
It's true. But I also feel like the comic movies have been trying to steer away from the norm a little bit with their trailers. Just a little bit.
Like, name one that's steering away.
Like, I feel like the Marvel trailers, they cut them up more so that there are surprises. They straight up pull things out that are in the movie from the trailer just for a little bit of added extra effect.
Yeah, but that's like to hide a reveal. That's not to hide a fan favorite line.
But who's to say they don't go a step further? They've been experimenting.
We'll see. Well, there's no way to tell until we actually see the film.
That is true.
Speaking of Sony Spider-Man universe movies, they announced today that they were producing a Kraven the Hunter solo movie. that ain't getting made, guys.
Okay.
No, why would it?
Can you explain why?
Kraven the Hunter?
Kraven the Hunter.
Kraven the Hunter.
Yeah.
Nobody gives a shit.
I don't even know who Kraven the Hunter is. I know the name, but I don't know who Kraven the Hunter is.
I will say that when people talk, like Spider-Man fans, if you ask them what their favorite Spider-Man story is, I'd say probably 4 out of 5 would tell you Kraven's Last Hunt is the greatest Spider-Man story of all time.
Well, I've definitely heard that.
So he is a major villain. But yeah, he's not interesting on his own at all.
Okay.
He's just like a big game hunter if he's not hunting Spider-Man.
Interesting.
I mean, if they do a weird like hunting superheroes thing with him, like I don't know, what do you do with Kraven? No, they're not even going to figure out a way to do this. This is going to languish in development hell.
Okay.
Other weird movie news is that they, since nothing is sacred anymore, they announced they're working on a prequel to The Sandlot. They sought to appease the damage of this move by. Or those angry with this move by having on as a co-writer, the original writer and director, David Mickey Evans.
It's just, prequel's so weird. Sandlot is so weird.
Rumor has it it'll be a movie about the Beast, and again, I ask, who cares? Who cares?
Right, we already got a movie about the Beast.
Getting an origin to the Beast as a prequel to The Sandlot ruins The Sandlot, because if you then watch the prequel to The Sandlot before you watch The Sandlot, it spoils the big twist of The Sandlot, which is that the Beast is pretty friendly.
Right, it's a dopey dog.
Right. Spoilers for The Sandlot. Anyway, Netflix announced that they were doing a Animal Farm film.
Netflix scares me.
Andy Serkis to direct. I don't know if he's going to write, but definitely to direct.
Netflix is dangerous land these days.
It'll be interesting to see what angle their adaptation of Animal Farm takes.
Exactly.
It's such a creepy book.
Yeah. Will they be willing? Because, I mean, what was the recent one? HBO did Fahrenheit 451.
Yeah.
Did you watch that?
No.
No, I got bad reviews.
Yeah, I heard it was terrible and, like, not at all what the book is about.
That's crazy. So the best adaptation of Fahrenheit 451 remains Equilibrium?
Most definitely.
All right, fair enough. And last, and I guess least, maybe not least, Brent Spiner, one of our favorites.
Oh, sounds like great news.
Is joining the cast of the TV show Supergirl.
Oh, God.
Which we don't watch.
We don't watch it, but maybe we should now.
I mean, Brent, he'll act for you. He'll give you some real acting. Capital A.
Dang.
I don't know who he's playing.
Yeah, I mean, he's always good, but I don't know, that show just is so boring.
Yeah, I've never even tried, honestly. Maybe I'd like it, who knows?
It just looks boring, that's why you haven't tried.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Sam, watch anything this week?
No.
Really? I thought I saw you watching something today. I was wrong.
Was I watching something today?
Something dog mystery related.
I've been watching some Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated.
Mystery Incorporated.
Yeah.
Why, you don't want to talk about that?
No, I can talk about that. It's an interesting Scooby-Doo show because most Scooby-Doo, I'd say, is fairly on... it goes between being watchable and non-watchable.
And also, most Scooby-Doo is about Shaggy and Scooby as your main characters.
Right.
For sure. Whereas Mystery Incorporated takes a different path and changes things up a little bit.
How?
Well, it makes it so they're all in one town.
Uh-huh.
They completely changed Fred into an idiot savant.
Fred is amazing.
Yeah, he's really funny because he's a great idiot savant. His obsessions are solving mysteries and trapping things.
Uh-huh.
Which solving mysteries, of course, Fred, he was always the one saying, "Looks like we got a mystery on our hands. Let's stop at this abandoned building."
What's the idiot part?
He's oblivious to most things.
He's dating
Daphne,
and literally he misses every hint, and it's like a joke. And she says something, and he just is thinking about traps at the time, so he says something back trap related, and she just, storms off like, Fred! But then, later on, he just puts together a trap, and it's like, wow, that's brilliant. No wonder he's been thinking about traps the whole show.
He's hilarious.
So it's some real Home Alone shit.
Yes.
A little bit, yeah. And he talks about traps and makes up ridiculous things about traps. Like, he sees somebody else's trap and he's like, is that a Quagmire gambit? I've only ever read about those.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it gets pretty ridiculous. And I recently found out that for the show, they dug into the original scripts for the original show. To get a bunch of information about the characters that was never actually released, like their families, their history, the town they come from, and they changed the name of the town for the show. But other than that,
it's the town.
Yeah, they stayed pretty faithful to those original scripts.
That's interesting.
Which is it's pretty cool. The show also has a overarching plot, unlike most Scooby-Doo shows. And it seems that most of the overarching plot came from scripts for an never made Goonies show back in the 80s.
Really?
Yeah.
That's the thing? A known thing?
It's information that you can find on IMDb.
Okay. Huh.
Yeah, so they just pilfered those old scripts because no Goonies cartoon ever got made.
Right. Wow, that's actually a pretty interesting tidbit.
It is, actually.
Also, the whole talking dog thing, it explains through a bunch of stuff going on in the show with, like, Nibiru and ancient...
the fuck's Nibiru?
Nibiru,
don't say that like I should know.
Nibiru, like, ancient... what is he, Egyptian?
Yeah, ancient Egyptian equivalent to Cthulhu god that controls everything.
Yeah, ancient evil.
Gave the dogs the ability to speak?
Well, it makes the dog, Scooby, a reincarnation of the Monkey King. So there's been generations of talking animals throughout history, usually in crime-solving groups. And they're all either a reincarnation of the Monkey King or a reincarnation of Cthulhu.
What's Scooby's personality? Is he just normally
He's normal Scooby.
Oh.
It's just a little extra magical.
When the show starts, he can't talk?
No, he can talk.
Oh.
He's a reincarnation, so
they just explain it. Like,
right, yes. They explain it through finding out through the show the history of the other Monkey King reincarnations and mystery-solving lunches.
Before they explain it, do people comment on how weird it is that Scooby can talk? Like,
no.
They don't bring it up until it's explained?
Yeah, basically.
But it's also like they've been in this town and only in this town for such a long time that everybody just knows there's a talking dog in this town. Scooby the talking dog.
It's very Family Guy.
A little bit. I'm not saying it's the best writing in the world.
I'm not criticizing it at all, believe me. Nothing I'm saying should be taken into criticism.
It's a very entertaining show. And as far as Scooby-Doo's go, it's probably the best one.
It's definitely the best one. And I like my Scooby-Doos.
Do you? Is that your favorite Scooby-Doo?
It is my favorite Scooby-Doo.
What's your second favorite Scooby-Doo?
I can never remember the name, but it's the one but I like that movie where they go to the zombie island and all the zombies come to life.
I think it's Scooby-Doo and Zombie Island.
That's probably the name. And then after that, I like Scooby-Doo, Where Are You?
Okay.
Classic.
Yes,
fair
exactly.
Enough. There's no Scrappy or the movie's too okay at making him the villain.
Right. All right, well, yeah.
That's all I got on Scooby-Doo.
What about you, Will? You watched something this week. I know you did.
I did?
Tell me about it. The thing you watched this week. Come on, it's there. We can pull it out.
What?
It's there. No, really? Nothing?
Yeah,
I was trying to trick him.
No, nothing. I feel like I watched something now. You got me.
Well, nothing too exciting for me. Nothing new this week. I've been a bad little podcaster as far as hunting down new things. So many movies we haven't seen, guys. We need to go see Ant-Man. Mission Impossible came out this weekend.
It's true.
Yeah.
But I went back in time a little bit. Watched an old Academy Award winner, Silence of the Lambs.
That.
Yeah,
Silence of the Lambs, really.
Silence of the Lambs with Anthony Hopkins and gosh, it's not Jodie Foster. What's her name?
Oh man, I can't.
You know her name. Wow, it's so bad that I can't remember her name.
I know.
But she's fantastic in it.
Amazing.
And yeah, that's just a real creepy movie. It moves a little slow at the beginning,
it's old.
As movies from then did, but it doesn't waste too much time. It's Jonathan Demme directed it. Directed movies we like Stop Making Sense.
Well, that was a director film. Well, I suppose, but it's a show, but it's also a movie.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's Stop Making Sense is a movie. Anthony Hopkins obviously is great. Everybody knows it.
Yeah.
It's good. It's real shockingly violent at the end, and it's funny how today you look at it and it's like, oh, okay, I can accept that, but thinking about how people and audiences watching that mature, slow adult film at the time must have reacted to things like. Have you ever watched it?
No.
No. Nope.
Yeah, when Hannibal Lecter finally breaks out near the end, and the way he does it is so gruesome, and one guy gets fricasseed, and spread out and crucified and his skin open and all the guts hanging out, and Hannibal Lecter carves off one of the other guys' faces and wears it on his own face so they'll think he's the security guard and they'll take him out into the ambulance so he can escape. It's nuts. It's fantastic. Well worth a watch in your classic movie watching thing. It's not
like a good classic movie.
It's definitely a thriller. I wouldn't call it much of a police procedural. There's not there's one scene 90% of the way into the movie where they suddenly solve the case. They get back to it and they sit down in a room and they're like, here's the thing. Oh, and here's the thing we didn't notice. All right, let's do it. Solve the case. Because the movie's really just about her conversations with Lecter and how they affect her in her day-to-day life, and weirdly how creepy every single person in the movie is. Because the way it's shot, it's impossible not to notice how every dude she interacts with looks really menacing. At any minute he could just start attacking her no matter where she is. Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, it's
magic.
It's interesting. Yeah, it really puts you in her shoes as an upstart young FBI profiler who doesn't get the respect of her peers because she's a woman. Really gets you. Yeah, Hopkins is great.
Yeah, sounds like it's always sounded like it was a well put together movie.
Yeah, and it's the dude who was the chief of police in Monk is Buffalo Bill, the killer, and he gets to be super super creepy. So
I can see him being creepy.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so
take a break.
Before we take a break,
wait, you're right. We have ratings.
And we once again, as always. Okay, so here we are. We are once again ranking Star Trek characters. We're coming to near the end of this segment, fellas. Probably just a few more to go because we're really scraping the bottom of as far as characters to select goes. Not to say that the characters are bad, but I'm starting to actually have to look for them.
Right.
So far, we've ranked. Is the list currently in the correct formatting, Will?
Yes, it is. We have 63.
63 characters on the list. At the top of the list, number one character in Star Trek for us is Lieutenant Commander Data. And all the way down at number 63 is the regular universe variant of Captain Gabriel Lorca from Star Trek Discovery, as we never saw him, and he presumably died like a bitch.
And Archer is still right in the center.
Archer is still right in the center, exactly where I said he would go.
Yeah, it makes sense that he would go there.
As always, I have created two themed lists for you guys to choose between, and should there need to be a tiebreaker, I will make the tie-breaking vote. The two lists are enemies, villains, opponents, or extras. Extra characters that need to be ranked.
Ooh.
Eventually.
Extras.
Okay, let's do the extras.
Alright. Villains is turning into the new version of Doctors. They keep putting it down, we keep not picking it.
I like letting them ride.
Alright, so the first one in extras is going to be Lieutenant Travis Mayweather.
These are extras.
Oh, Travis Mayweather from
it's
Enterprise.
Real descriptive.
Alright, well, he is the chief helmsman on the original Enterprise, the NX-01 Enterprise, from the TV show Enterprise.
Yes.
He suffers from being the most boring bridge character in Star Trek history.
Well, yeah, because they don't really do anything with him unless he's injured.
I know, why is he always getting hurt?
Right. He gets possessed once, too.
He gets possessed.
And that's, probably when he's doing his most interesting stuff, is when he's a possessed alien.
Right. Yeah, they just never once give him interesting stuff to work with. And maybe if the show had gone on...
Yeah, and it seems too bad because he always seemed like he could be an interesting officer.
They wanted to present him as like sort of quirky because in the first episode they have him in the part of the ship where gravity is weird, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I know ships. I've been in space all my life," and like maybe other weird things will come up, and it never comes up. Once in a while, his past being on like a trading freighter or whatever comes up, but that's it.
It feels like they forget about him sometimes.
100%.
Yeah. It's a shame.
All right, so he's going to have to go pretty low on the list, honestly.
Yeah.
Really low. Because looking at the list, I don't know if I like him more than Esri Dax,
No.
Catherine Pulaski, Lore, Dr. Colbert, Keiko O'Brien, Neelix. I like Neelix more.
I like Neelix.
Michael Burnham. I like Michael Burnham more.
Yeah, I like Michael Burnham more.
T'Pol. T'Pol's a better character on that show.
T'Pol is more...
Okay, so the question is...
Chakotay.
Are Chakotay's negatives negative enough for him to actually be, like, a bad character? Because I feel like that's what you need to rank below an extra.
He's a bad character.
I think he's a bad character.
I would, honestly, as much as Robert Beltran is a huge gaping asshole, I would rather watch a Chakotay-centric episode than a Mayweather-centric episode.
Yeah.
All right. Are we agreed then? But better than Cass.
Yeah, better.
That works. I'm fine with this.
Lieutenant Travis Mayweather. Sorry, Travis.
Yeah.
That's not your fault.
All right. Yes, that was 100% on the writers. And this, I feel like the conversation for this character is going to be pretty similar. It's Lieutenant Hoshi Sato.
Sato. Yes, the translator on the same Enterprise.
Yes. The thing with Sato is that she's like the way the Maquis worked on Voyager, where they set it up like it was going to be this huge deal.
Yeah.
And then maybe 1 or 2 episodes remembered to use that thing. Because she was the universal translator. She was going to be...
She's all they had.
She's all they had. And it felt like very quickly they moved away they just made her Uhura. They just had her be like the comm officer.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
She definitely ended up the comm officer.
100%. Yeah, so that's unfortunate. And yeah, I'm having trouble remembering standout episodes from her. Like, did
she could cook.
Could she cook?
Yeah.
She was getting scared a lot because she didn't want to be on the mission in the first place.
True.
Oof.
Yeah, and that's never a good character trait.
Nope.
Right, not for Starfleet, even if it's early Starfleet.
You gotta be a go-getter.
Yeah. I mean, I do appreciate her relationship with Archer. Like, I like how Archer's like everybody's dad. If he's not your buddy, he's your dad.
Oh, all the way dad captain.
Yeah.
And yeah, so she's fine. I think she's better than Travis.
She is better than Travis.
I'd rather have her. I think that I have to move her up the list a little bit. I don't think I can put her above Lore.
No, but definitely above Neelix.
Definitely above Neelix. What about Keiko? Ranking the only 2 Asian women in Star Trek against each other.
I don't know. I think I put Keiko higher just because Keiko is a lot more show-centric.
Wow, you think Keiko is more show-centric
than
a main bridge officer of another show?
Because of her relation with O'Brien.
Wow.
She carries over 2 shows.
Yeah, I wouldn't agree with
No?
that.
He's saying crazy things right now.
Yeah.
But I think that I like her better than Keiko.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. So finally, is she better than Dr. Hugh Colbert from Star Trek Discovery?
No.
No.
Well, no.
No. He arguably does as much or more as she does. So yeah, that's Lieutenant Hoshi Sato. Alright, so I'm pretty sure we haven't ranked the next character, but I'm going to make sure real quick. No, we haven't. Alright, so the last one is from the original series, Lieutenant Uhura.
Oh, right.
Uhura. Yeah, so yeah, Uhura's pretty cool.
Yeah, she's alright. She does a good job. She's interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, she shows up in some episodes. I've seen them.
And I mean, she's a good character in the movies, in both the old movies and the remake with Zoe Saldana, who's always good in whatever sci-fi she's in.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
She's an acceptable character. Enjoyable sometimes.
The Spock thing in the reboot universe is a little weird, but, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. If it wasn't for that, she would be a pretty good character in those movies, but the relationship is kind of awkward in those movies, like kind of a low point.
And yeah, she isn't as well served as far as any sort of focus as most of the other cast on the original series. And
right, well, I think that's her.
Yeah, but
she doesn't have main duties.
But man, watch. She always has to answer the phone, man.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing.
Watch Star Trek 4 though. when all the crew is tooling around San Francisco in the past, everybody gets to do some interesting things.
That's fair.
So, where do we think Uhura's going to go? I think she's under the middle, but not too far, honestly.
Around the middle. Yeah.
I honestly would prefer her to Oksana Troy.
I was going to start at Troy, too. That's funny.
I'm fine with that.
I guess I would like her more than Liquidator Brent, honestly.
Yeah, that's true.
What about Wesley? I think I like her more than Wesley.
Yeah, probably.
All right, Deanna Troy. I think she is actually a better character than Troy.
Than
Not
Deanna.
Troy's fault. But what about Dr. Crusher? I don't know.
I don't think she's better than Dr. Crusher.
Yeah, I like Dr. Crusher more. Sorry, original series fans.
They are comparable. This is acceptable.
Yeah, so that's another lieutenant, right? Lieutenant.
This should have just been lieutenants.
What's her first name? Naota. Is that in the original series, or do they make that up for the reboot movies?
It's probably in a script somewhere.
Yeah. All right, so that was that. So I believe that is it for all of the main casts of all the shows. So I can't think of a major character. We'll have to sit down and look at the list later.
Yeah.
But
do we ever rank Ram and Lita?
Well, I was talking about like bridge crew, basically.
Okay, bridge crew.
But there are many characters like the aforementioned Lita and Nog and Rom and Jake Sisko and Garrick.
Grand Magus Zek.
Grand Nagus Zek.
Magus. I said Magus. What the hell? Magus.
But I mean, we have to rank Garrick because he's like a top shooter.
We haven't. Didn't we rank Garrick? We did that last week.
Yeah, we did.
Oh yeah, we did
Garrick, and we also did Jake Sisko.
Oh, we did Jake Sisko. Ooh, bad memory on my part. We did Q too. I need to look at this list somewhere close.
You're making these lists.
Well, it's on the villains list, isn't it?
Maybe who is Q?
Q.
Yeah. So I guess maybe for the next week, maybe you should give the list a fresh look and be the one to produce 2 themed lists.
Maybe I should.
Maybe.
But
until then, we can at least take a break.
That's true. A very, very long break.
We'll be right back. And welcome back to the LAAGCast. We're going to have some comic news and reviews for you. But first, as always, the Transformer of the Week. So you selected this tan, brown, and red Transformer with the detachable head out of the case, Sam.
Yeah, Headmaster.
Will, quick guess. What's his name?
Headless?
His name is used often as an insult for robots in movies and TV.
What?
His name is Chrome Dome.
Oh! Wow.
And, Chrome Dome is cool. He's a headmaster, where his head is a smaller robot named Stylor. And, he's interesting. He's a big character in the IDW comics run, in More Than Meets the Eye, in which he is real gay.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, technically the Transformers can't be gay. They only learned, like, a couple of years ago in their continuity that they even had genders, so they thought they were all, like, genderless. Like, they used he, but, like, they didn't think that there was girls.
So he's flamboyant.
No, he's not flamboyant at all. He's really, like, depressed all the time. He's one of those guys who's, like, has to be in a relationship and is super codependent, and if he's not, then he's, like, wiping his own memories and shit. Like, he's a great character, but it's kind of hard to break down the ways in which he's actually good.
Okay.
He's a former investigator and Chrome Dome. In the original version of Chrome Dome, I believe is the leader of the Headmasters when the Headmasters show up and kind of take over Transformers for a few years in the 80s.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, along with Highbrow and Brainstorm. Notice the head name.
This is
thing
so
for
bizarre.
all 3 Headmasters.
Right.
Oh, man. It just gets crazier.
That's a good theme.
Yeah, no, it's pretty funny. I mean, they're all super smart scientists, usually.
They had better be.
Yeah. So, moving on to some news. In slightly sad news, after 25 years of publishing, Bongo Comics is going to be ending their Simpsons line of comics.
This is the beginning of the end for The Simpsons.
It could be. It could be.
Of the end.
It's
a few years ago.
Many years ago.
It has been the beginning of the end.
Yeah, but I mean, those comics have been pretty consistently average. So, I don't know if it was low readership or some sort of external thing. Maybe it had something to do with the Disney-Fox merger, and they didn't want to have this other publishing thing happening with their characters now that Disney owns The Simpsons.
That's true.
But yeah, so that's too bad. Also in semi-tragic news, the co-founder of IDW stepped down this week after 19 years. Ted Adams is going to be going on sabbatical. No word on if this is directly connected to IDW's huge, like in the 90th percentile drop in market share over the last couple of years. But they've been having significant executive turnover, so they appear to be in a weird place. As a company. We'll see what happens to IDW in the next few years.
Yeah. Could be them turning things around, or could be everything's falling apart.
I mean, as we talked about last week, they're going to be publishing those Marvel comics.
Which is pretty big.
So, yeah, we'll see. Maybe they'll just end up being like a weird arm of Marvel or something. And finally, DC announced that they were canceling a planned reprint of a classic favorite Captain Marvel story from the Otto Bender and C.C. Beck days, Captain Marvel, the Monster Society of Evil. Because, they were drawing some racist caricatures back in the day. And those would have been included in the book, and I guess DC decided to just avoid any controversy, despite the definite historical significance of this work. So, take that how you will.
Maybe they're putting it on the back burner for when things aren't so intense, because in 5 years from now things might be a little better, and profit-wise that might be a good target for them.
I mean, maybe. And maybe they didn't want to have that out around the same time they're trying to promote a big-budget, family-friendly movie starring that character. Right. But, Fantagraphics publishes those old Uncle Scrooge comics, and the racist depictions in that aren't nearly as bad as what is in this book, but there's definitely some questionable stuff in there. But you leave it in for historical accuracy, and you just put a note about it in the beginning.
If you don't change anything, then people don't have any right to get mad, so when they come after you, you have a good defense. But if you change like a couple small things but leave most of it, then you're under fire. So it's really important to be accurate.
Be accurate, and just address it. They do it great in the Looney Tunes Golden collections, where on some of the discs they will have Whoopi Goldberg come up and explain that these cartoons were made a long time ago, and some of that they had different attitudes back then about some things, and they're not editing them because they're historically significant. But just understand that it was that time, and thanks Whoopi, that's perfect.
Yeah, very very tastefully done.
Yeah. Well. So that's all I had for comic book news. A little slow in the wake of Comic-Con, but
it's all good. Felt like news was a little slow in general this week.
Let's move on to some reviews. Let's start with the new issue. It's been a little while.
It has.
Mr. Miracle, issue 10, with the best cover of the year, for sure. That just fantastic. Mostly black. Nick Darrington, Darkseid, glaring out at you from the page. Reminds you that Darkseid is.
It pops.
And the inside of the comic is another issue of Mr. Miracle.
Yeah, I mean, there is definitely plot here, but that's the thing. There's a little plot spread out through a lot of pages, and it's leading somewhere, and you just got your fingers crossed that it's leading somewhere good, because they have built up so much.
It's there's a couple of interesting things that do happen. I kind of like his conversation with the video store clerk about what choice he should make, and just blatantly explaining to the guy that he's a god who has to decide what's going to happen in this interstellar war, which they've consulted their oracles, and if this war goes on, many will die, all will be in pain. And the only way that they can solve it for now is that, as we mentioned at the end of last issue, Darkseid offered to sign a truce should Mr. Miracle fork over his son Jacob, his Imbarda's son Jacob. So that's what this whole issue is about, them deciding if they're going to do that or not.
Yep.
They throw in a weird little side thing where Funky Flashman, who's been Jacob's babysitter for several issues now, has been playing like an imaginary story game with Jacob, who knows how he's actually communicating these ideas to Funky, or if he is. But this is 100% like a weird adaptation of the coming of Galactus from Marvel Comics, because this big robot comes that's going to eat Earth, and he has a dog that comes before him, the Golden Retriever, who is the Silver Surfer, who befriends the boy in town and helps him defeat the giant planet-eating robot. It's literally like a 2-year-old's version of the Fantastic Four Galactus story.
It's adorable.
But the whole issue is, about if they're going to make the choice, and at the end, Scott Free seems to have decided that they're going to do it, but not really. They're going to do the handoff. They're going to go and act like they're going to hand Jacob off to Darkseid, but then Scott is going to try to kill Darkseid, and he knows that there's almost no way it'll succeed.
Right.
But there was a prophecy that said he would kill his father. So he's going to see how that plays out. We got 2 issues left to go.
Yep. 2 issues. So before those 2 issues come out, do you think after those 2 issues come out, I should say, do you think you'll get a collection version?
If they do like a big oversized collection of this, I think I probably would get it if they stick the landing, because this whole series is based on that. If he can stick the landing on the ending here and really deliver something that knocks us off our feet and really causes us to examine the things that were happening in the previous issues that we have all gotten the feeling are like there's something else going on here and we're not really sure what it is. And if we get a brilliant twist that where you can go back and reread the series and be like, oh, this was happening, oh, this was happening, oh, that's what that meant, then 100% it will be a classic. Buy the deluxe hardcover, buy the Absolute Edition, put it up there with the great DC extended series of all time. If he doesn't stick this landing, this is 12 boring issues of Mr. Miracle.
It's 12 boring issues of seeing an occasional Darkseid is.
Right.
What is he?
What is he trying to say with this? We will find out.
Yeah, big oversized collection, though, and the entire thing from start to finish being 9 panel pages.
Yeah.
That will be pretty interesting.
Yeah. No, the art is very good. And I wish it wasn't so repetitive. I know they're super doing that on purpose, and they're super trying to make us, like, read into the way the art is repetitive, except when it's not. Yep. But, it'll be another thing of, like, if they can't stick the landing and make some of this stuff make sense, then what is this?
It is kind of like they're writing a story in a dream, though, where not everything has to make sense.
Right. Yeah. Once again, this all very likely is taking place within the lump. Like, that's been my prediction since issue 1. It was strengthened when the baby was born, and we actually got lump-based narration. And no one has talked about it ever since. And there's just no way this isn't about the lump. but that isn't enough. If it's just like, oh yeah, it was the lump all along. Like, that's not going to be interesting. There has to be some angle on it that really casts the weirdness of the previous issues in a new light.
Darkseid is the lump.
Oof.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yes.
So now we are here on issue 5 of Justice League, which for this issue has been retitled Legion of Doom. They've scratched out the new Justice logo on the cover. Embrace evil is the tagline. The Legion of Doom are coming at you on the page.
I mean, I genuinely think that was a nice cover.
And you didn't, or did?
I did.
Yeah.
Very good. Like Legion of Doom stuff.
And this issue is essentially the origin. It filled in all the holes that we didn't know yet about how Darkseid assembled his Legion and why. We found out what was truly revealed to him at the end of No Justice, and we found out what he's learned since that has caused him to go on this warpath. It's all set up. We didn't learn what the doorknob actually is yet, right? We just know it's a powerful thing.
We know it's so powerful that supposedly Luthor can do whatever he wants now.
This is another one where if the twist of what this is good, then a lot of this will be much better than if the twist on it is bad. And all of this is just bombast for no purpose.
Well, I hope the purpose is to set up a new Legion of Doom for a little while, because that'd be fun.
Jeff Johns definitely wants to do that. I believe he said he wants to do it on social media. There's no way that these guys aren't hanging around for a while.
Yeah, and then the new base in the volcano is awesome.
It's good stuff.
This overall was a good comic, but it still just feels like it's so much setup and more setup and more setup and more setup.
Yeah, very little is getting resolved at any time.
Yeah.
And the number of cliffhangers that are left hanging from the last issue is
one
of those, like,
they're all there.
Why you gotta do it that way?
Yeah. Well, it's a jump back issue.
Right, yeah. Fill in the blanks, like I said.
Exactly.
We'll pick up the regular timeline, hopefully in the next.
It better be.
Yeah, I can't imagine it won't be. Because you got to have the issue set up in a way where you can collect that trade paperback in 6 issues and have it be like its own story, even if things are going to be continuing.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. Anything else?
On that?
No. Let's move on.
Let's move on to issue 3 of The Unexpected, which was an okay issue. I didn't like it as much as the first 2.
Yeah, the second issue was really good. The first issue was okay, and this issue, yeah, exactly. It didn't stand out as much, but it wasn't bad.
No, it was just a lateral move. Like,
exactly.
Pieces were adjusted to new positions.
Yeah, and it was a little weird, and weird is always good in my opinion. Well, mostly good.
Yeah. And Omar Sin was showing up in Metal, if you remember, during that little brief period. So this series is very tied into other things that are happening. I
felt their weird little argument and then apologizing to each other was actually kind of like good writing.
Yeah, because it made sense for those characters to do that.
Yes, exactly.
Like, he's having an emotional crisis, and she's literally like a spark waiting to ignite into a rage fire person.
Yeah, it stood out to me. Like, the writer's really paying attention to his characters.
And, they've got dinosaurs, like dragony, weird alien dinosaurs happening.
Yes.
So that's always good stuff.
Yeah.
And Huntress shows up at the end, and Huntress is an okay character, I guess, sometimes.
Yeah. They're going Gotham for Batman's help. I think that's what was going on.
Yeah, we'll see if Batman actually shows up. It seems like they're just going to get Huntress.
Yes, that does. Because they show up during the day. What a mistake. What are they thinking?
Alright, so next up, let's talk about Moon Knight, number 197.
I liked Moon Knight number 197. It brought back to me Batman the Animated Series.
I knew you were going to bring it up. Yeah, that episode almost got him.
Right.
Where the villains are all sitting around the table telling their almost got Batman stories.
Right, and then Batman turns out to be Killer Croc.
Right, and this is that if, at the end of that episode, like, Joker had walked out from the shadows and been like, good job, Batman, like, you're finally here, now let's have a conversation. And Batman, like, stopped fighting and was like, okay, let's have a conversation.
Right, it ended a little weird. I was expecting him to just beat them all up, and then, they go to jail, especially that dude who throws grenades into just crowds and runs and then murders people sometimes.
Right, so the setup of the issue is that we've got these 4 people who've been gathered for a dinner for this cult that worships sadism. And one of the guys is a photographer who does, like, snuff photography. And another guy, and he's actually famous, but he has this, like, dark side thing that he does. And this girl who was, she's basically Oren Ishii from Kill Bill, except she didn't take over her mob. Yeah.
Completely.
But yeah, or a combination of Oren and Natalie Portman in The Professional, where she's raised by the assassin.
But that's a movie I should watch.
That's another movie you should watch. And then, this guy who isn't as flashy as all the others, all he is that, he used to throw grenades into restaurants, and then he went on a streak of killings, and so he's the only man who's ever been both a mass murderer and a serial killer. And this other guy who's super into piercing until he starts to get into piercing people to death.
Yeah, I'm glad they silhouetted out these ones other than the piercings.
Yeah, it's a good art choice because there's some gross things happening that we don't want to see.
Yeah, exactly.
And then one of the hooded guys who's been pouring them wine the whole time sits down at the table and it's like, I'm actually Moon Knight and I'm also a sadist. I love to beat up criminals. And then he starts like he's going to beat him up, but then this other dude walks out and is like, I knew that eventually you would show up to one of these. My nephew, I'm your uncle, Uncle Ernst.
Uncle Ernst.
So we're going to see where this plotline goes, but once again, a giant asshole Max Bemis has constructed a comic that I can't stop buying.
Yeah, and it's hilarious because this issue was very much also reminding me of the previous story arc with all the weirdos.
Yeah, first he was making fun of like super leftist SJWs, and now he's making fun of like creepos who are like into weird things to the point of actually doing harm to people.
Right. People who take their punk or sadism, I guess, too far.
Yeah, exactly.
But look, another cover that doesn't fit the actual story. This never happened.
No, but while this doesn't happen in the comic, this cover 100% fits the story.
I like the cover. They got Moonlight's head on 2 platters.
Is that 2 platters? That's
is that one?
That's one big platter.
I thought it was like 1 round,
platters?
Another round.
That's a head on 2 platters.
That's
one platter.
That's why it looked funny to me.
Don't say crazy things like that. All right, moving on to the 3rd and final issue of 3 of Michel Fife's Bloodstrike Brutalists.
It's just 3?
This is it.
Okay.
It's all done.
It did have an ending, so that's acceptable.
We've read it all.
I should read it. I decided to drop it. I didn't realize it was the last one. I've already read the first 2. I should have read this.
You should have read this. This actually does a pretty good job of following the continuity of the previous issue.
It explained everything I didn't understand from the last 2, wrapped them up, and I also really loved this.
This is amazing. I love it. The simple side view of... is his name Bloodstrike? Did we learn that in this?
I don't believe we did.
What's his name?
I don't know.
It's we've been... Cabot. His field name is Bloodstrike.
Oh, yeah, you're right. He is Bloodstrike.
And obviously this isn't old news to anybody who read the originals, but we're all complete newbies to this. But they've got on page 3 this image of Cabot from the side, and it's just like 2 brush strokes, one long one for the side of his face in profile, another quick one that then has the white hollowed out inside of it to be his eyes and the black around his eyes, and then red coloring on the white. It's beautiful. It's a work of art.
Yep.
Like, that's a painting right there.
And the boxes that are on the same page are all like thoughts happening within his mind.
Yeah, no, it's a well-constructed page, and they've monocolored the art in order to bring out the pop of the side illustration. You can tell what's flashback versus what's actually happening based on the coloration.
Yeah.
It's got a great action scene at the beginning where he's trying to go and get the dead bodies of the Bloodstrike team, and he ends up getting into a fight with some supervillains. But then the dead bodies, because they're weird zombies, start reanimating and helping him.
They just can't stop.
They can't stop killing. We get a quick cameo appearance in the middle from a couple of members of Youngblood, the primary Image Comics team from the era. This is Shaft, who, yes, is a Hawkeye ripoff, except for way more, overdone stuff. And, I used to know Bedrock. That's the thing. Yeah, he's the thing.
Yeah.
And then, Cabot goes and tries to hunt down his team that went AWOL at the end of the last issue.
Yep. And
because those those bodies that he had gone to try to save turned out to just be clones, so it was all pointless for him going after them anyway. And he very easily loses to one of the team members, never even gets around to tracking down the other 2, and then just pretends to forget where they were so that he can let them go free, and continues working for the government.
Yeah, it really seems like he just was not down to do this job, so it's just like, I'm moving on.
Fuck it. Not doing this job. And we are demonetized.
Yeah.
All right, so Bloodstrike, it's over. But whatever Michelle decides to do next, I will definitely be picking up. And to be completely honest, I am thinking about picking up the trade paperbacks of his prior series, Copra, which I have read, I think, the first 2 volumes worth of digitally, but I'd like to get physical copies of it because it is good stuff for the amount that I've read.
All right.
Yeah, it's basically classic 80s Suicide Squad, but he's changed all the characters slightly in order so it's not exactly Suicide Squad. But all right, moving on to issue 4 of the Immortal Hulk, which I liked a lot more than the last issue because it wasn't an art jam.
That is true.
Yeah.
This issue was mostly about Sasquatch, not Hulk. We got basically all we needed to know about the origins of Sasquatch, who I knew was a character and was in Alpha Flight, but I never knew anything about.
Right. That's true.
But it goes through a lot of stuff with him, and then he gets stabbed, but it appears that for some reason he's had the same thing happen to him that happened to Bruce Banner, even though Bruce Banner got shot in the head, to have it happen to him.
Right.
Well, they're talking a lot about like delta waves and stuff like that, and that's linked to like deep sleep where you're not even dreaming. So that could definitely be related to the whole come back from death thing.
Interesting. So that
they super irradiated themselves with delta waves.
And it's only recently started to happen where when they're dead or just at night.
I think that is what needs to be explained, but I feel like this is a piece.
And really, this is the first issue that isn't a self-contained story by itself. It's really just set up for the next issue, which promises to be a hardcore, no-holds-barred throwdown between Hulk and Sasquatch, which I'm looking forward to because, as you know, I like this series so far, but my one complaint is that Hulk doesn't really smash too much.
No, he kind of just quickly...
Once per issue.
Yeah.
One smash. He hits the nail all the way down in one hammer blow.
He's effective. The most effective Bruce Banner has ever been.
Right, and that's weird because that ain't the Hulk.
His speeches are good, though.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's weird that he's so smart.
Yeah.
And we'll see if Ali Wing goes anywhere with that or if he's just going to use that as a vehicle for, smaller plots. But yeah, still definitely enjoying the series, despite him also being a total jerk on Twitter. And he's blocked me. I've never said anything bad to him.
That's the worst.
Sorry, man.
All right. Moving on to issue 2 of Cosmic Ghost Rider.
Indeed.
You both read this?
Yeah.
What do you guys think of Cosmic Ghost Rider?
I think it's rather entertaining.
It's very fun.
Yeah? Having a good time with it?
Yeah, it's a good romp.
Yeah, it's kind of low rent is the way I would describe it.
They go with the first idea, not the third.
Right, exactly. This feels like something that Donny Cates, who I really am loving his work lately, but compared to stuff like Venom, it's a little bit more like, oh, here's another issue of comics, whereas Venom is like, oh my god, that is another classic issue of this comic.
Yeah. It's really playful.
Yeah, little baby Thanos and Galactus acting all silly.
It's silly.
It's high on silliness. This is definitely a weird comedy book. And, Watcher, what do they call him? Flying Baby? Sky Baby.
Yeah.
Is what little Thanos calls Watcher. And little Thanos, I have mixed feelings. On the one hand, little Ultimate Villain, it's a little overplayed for me recently.
Right.
On the other hand, it's hilarious that he basically has a tiny death machine on a leash.
Yes, exactly.
You can let out.
That's why I can forgive it for being dumb.
I do appreciate the Watcher's conversation with him, where he talks about him making the stupidest mistake of his life, and that's why the Watcher's there, and he explains it. And we end, of course, with this fantastic single-page splash of this version of the Guardians of the Galaxy, featuring Cable as the leader, Jubilee. This must be Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, but as Captain America now in the future.
Okay, yeah.
Rocket Raccoon, looking like Rocket Raccoon, but maybe also with some Nova thing going on. He's got some sort of power suit instead of a heavy arsenal.
Yeah, it seems like power suit.
And Juggerduck.
Juggerduck, exactly.
Juggerduck, a real thing?
Well, Juggerduck, I did know Juggerduck was eventually going to pop up because they had been sharing art on Twitter.
Okay.
There is, I don't know if it's going to be a whole book or what, but these Guardians are going to be showing up a lot in something.
Oh.
It might just be the next issue of this, I don't know. But there was some sort of cover art with them that was being shared by Donny Cates on Twitter.
Okay.
Juggerduck is if Howard the Duck got the Crimson Gem Cyttorak and became the avatar of Cyttorak in the normal reality plane, and it was the Juggernaut. So, yes, the Juggerduck is here.
That's frightening.
It is. It's awesome.
That's good for Guardians. I mean, for Cosmic Ghost Rider. So
yeah.
It's all silly.
It really is.
Yeah. And see, right on the other page, we got an ad for Asgardians of the Galaxy, which is the Guardians of the Galaxy team that's all Asgardians, including Frog Thor. And this is probably that other guy who was Thor for a couple of years in the 90s. He had a ponytail. Eric Masterson.
Oh, Masterson.
With he had a gray vest over a Thor 4-circle shirt, and he had a ponytail and a beard. Yeah,
that was the 90s.
Maybe in the 80s, but I think it was the early 90s.
Wow, so long ago.
Might have been the 80s. I'm not sure. Destroyer armor. Frog Thor. Did I say Frog Thor?
You did.
And Scourge, because Scourge was into movies lately. So, okay. This I think was the cover art I saw. It was the Cosmic Ghost Rider.
Oh, okay.
Checker deck.
Yeah, there he is.
Looks good.
So, I guess that's a recommend. Keep buying Cosmic Ghost Rider.
That is a recommend because it has the spirit of comics.
The spirit of good. I like that. No. Yes, it's comics. It's so comics.
Yes,
it's very comics.
All right. Last, we're going to talk about Batman number 52, part 2 of the Mr. Freeze arc.
They cleaned up a little bit from last time, but I'm not really into it.
Wow, I thought this was one of the best issues we've had in this whole run so far.
All right.
Yeah, tell me why it didn't excite you.
Because I just feel like this whole case is ridiculous. And I get what they're building up, but I don't buy it.
So do you think Freeze is guilty or not?
Like, the thing is, the case in itself is ridiculous to me. Like, that they would end up in this scenario at all. So, but as far as it goes, I think that he's innocent.
Yeah, because it seems like the book wants us to think he's innocent.
Yeah, I think he's innocent.
Right.
But the thing that it's asking us to accept if Freeze is innocent is that somebody else is weirdly manipulating the situation. Now, yes, the end of Batman 50 had that page on the final page, where we saw all these guys who've been supposedly messing with Bruce Wayne's life for a while.
Yeah.
And this could definitely be a part of that continued manipulation.
That's true.
But yeah, man, wouldn't it be a great twist if Freeze did do it?
I mean, honestly, if Freeze did do it, I would definitely be into that. But yeah, I'm just having trouble getting into this.
Yeah, it's definitely another issue of Tom King deciding that Batman needs to have a long essay written about him instead of having action comics be written about him.
Yeah, you're right, because I think if the bulk of this story was reduced down to just a couple pages, which I think we could get a lot of this into, I think that it would read a lot better for me.
So call Topher Grace is what you're saying.
Yes, call Topher Grace.
Call Topher Grace.
He's going to get this whole 52 issues of Tom King's Batman so far. He's going to get it down to 12 amazing, solid issues. You're not going to believe the action-packed, crazy, crisscrossing, twisted path that these issues will take.
Hopefully.
May he grace us all.
Yeah.
You. I can't even keep recording with you now. I'm gone.
All right.
Well,
that's it. We'll play us out.
All right. They've both stormed out of the room, as you can tell. So you should just go follow us on Twitter now so you can keep up with what's going on. Follow us on Twitter at _LAAG. That's lag with 2 A's, LAAG, because we are the League of Above Average Gamers. You can also send us an email at lagentertainment@gmail.com. If you want to listen to just the audio feed, it's at lagentertainment.libsyn.com, and you can also find us on YouTube at the LAAGCast. We're also on all sorts of podcasting services, and if you Google us, Player FM shows up right away, so it's real easy. Thank you so much for stopping by to listen. We'll be back again next week with an even better episode, because it just keeps getting better. Thanks.